Oh, it's extreme, and we are feeling it. In fact, it's record-breaking, this heat. We hit 102 degrees, beating our old record. Good afternoon. We hope you're inside somewhere cool. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Marshall Zellinger. Tom Green is melting somewhere today. Right now, we're hanging around in the triple digits. The TV says 100 right now. We've been hotter than 90 since 9:40 this morning.
And that's unusual, isn't that, in Colorado? Yeah. We're tracking these temperatures as they rise today. Kathy's going to give us a better look at when we can expect some relief from the extreme coming up. This heat is certainly not making it easier for our firefighters. We are following breaking news out of Boulder, where they've been fighting a fire since right about noon.
Yeah, this being called the Dinosaur Fire in Boulder there. You can see the smoke for a few miles. It's burning near NCAR in Boulder, just a couple miles south of CU's main campus and a couple miles south of Chautauqua Park. While there are no evacuation orders in place, there is still an air quality health advisory active right now.
Yeah, they've been using a lot of air support to get this thing take care of it. And 9 News reporter Evan Krugel has been covering the fire since it started. He's joining us from the scene on a hot day. Evan?
It is a hot day, Kim. A lot of work for those firefighters here in Boulder. An evacuation advisory does remain in effect as crews continue to fight this fire. Now, that's not an evacuation notice. It simply means folks who might need a little extra time are being told to get ready in case these flames shift. You can see that fire over my shoulder over NCAR. I can tell you that plume of smoke looks a lot different than it did just a couple of hours ago when we arrived. Take a look at some of this video from earlier this afternoon. We know the first 911 call came in just after 11 o'clock this morning, about 5 hours ago, for reports of a fire on or near a trail west of the NCAR building. That's near the Mallory Caves Trail and Bear Lake Trail. At last check a few minutes ago, it was about 3.5 acres in size, but firefighters say it is moving and growing very slowly. You mentioned how big this fire is, that plume of smoke visible from miles away. Crews have been attacking this fire from the ground and from the air using these helicopters to drop water and retardant on it. At this point, no evacuation orders have been issued. Again, just that evacuation advisory, which urges people with medical conditions or who might need extra time getting out of these neighborhoods in Table Mesa to start getting ready.
I know from a public perspective, I lived here during the Marshall Fire. I know that there's a lot of fear in this community around wildfires. So I just want to say it's not necessarily the same kind of fire. So just to let everyone know that crews are up there at this time. They're saying just avoid the area and let them get their jobs done.
Now, the good news here, the blaze is in a spot that's pretty well removed from any homes or buildings, including NCAR, so no structures are threatened. It looks from this vantage point a lot closer to NCAR than it actually is, according to firefighters. Now, that area behind NCAR is extremely popular for hikers. Firefighters had to go up and down those trails clearing them. They have completed that test at this point. Nobody is left on the trail. No injuries have been reported. They're now trying to figure out how to stay cool up there and try to figure out what started this fire. Guys?
That's so true. You think of all the hikers that are up there. And Evan, I was reading somewhere, because it's a breezy out there today and it's windy, but the wind doesn't seem to be, it's blowing in the right way for firefighters is what I was reading. Is that the case?
That's what it sounds like. The fire has only grown about half an acre in size over a couple of hours, so they seem to have a pretty good grasp on the size at the moment. But again, the terrain up there is really difficult to fight this fire. That's why we're seeing that relentless fight from the air, as well as crews hiking through that heat in full firefighter gear to get in there to fight the fire.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. And as we heard from that sound, Evan, it's all like the metric is always the Marshall Fire. So anytime there's smoke, there's worry.
Exactly.
Thanks for being out there. More breaking news.
You bet.
We're also working to learn more about an apartment fire in Aurora. That's happening near Mississippi and South Elkhart Way, maybe about a half mile east of Gateway High School. Aurora Fire Rescue says this is a second alarm fire, so there's several crews there. They're asking people to avoid the area. At this time, there's no word on how the fire started or if there are any injuries. And we've got a crew headed to the scene. We'll bring you any new information as we find out about it.
So for days now, we have been tracking these hot temperatures, and today it started with the high 80s at 9 a.m. By 10, we already reached 90. By noon, we climbed to 98 degrees.
And then that magic number at 1:15 was 100 degrees. We stayed at 100 through 2 o'clock. Then at 3, we tied the record at 101.
But now we went up a little more, and this is not something to cheer, people. As you all know, we're at 102, setting a new 53-year record high in Denver. All the metro area under an extreme heat advisory until Sunday.
102 is the top.
Yep.
We've come down. I'm seeing 100 on the screen.
Yeah.
But is that Denver or DIA?
That's here at the studios,
that's
right
here.
outside the
Okay.
studios at Spear and Logan. You're seeing the 100. The 102 is official, out at the official observation site out at DIA. And you guys, for some perspective, 105 degrees is the all-time record high for Denver. We're 3 degrees shy of that. Sun doesn't set till 8:28. So I'm fearful the number could go higher. And this is not the warmest day of the 3-day heat wave. So we need to settle in. We need to be prepared. We need to be safe. 102, that is just dangerous to be outdoors for any extent of time without proper hydration and shade. Working outside would be really difficult and probably dangerous at this point. We have temperatures still in the triple digits from Denver to Greeley to Sterling, Lamar, and out across Grand Junction. This dome of high pressure is expanding over Colorado, and the apex, the peak of this heat wave will occur, we think, Sunday. Heat advisories from the western U.S. now involving Colorado tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, 99 to 104 degrees. Please remember, pets and kids, do not leave them in the car. And we're watching the wind as fire managers are dealing with that wildland fire outside of NCAR in Boulder, the Dinosaur Fire. Any type of fire in these dry, hot conditions, really just something we don't want to see. The air quality alert will be extended back into Denver through 4 o'clock tomorrow. And the storms we're tracking today have wind and lightning and not that rain that we need. So coming up in weather, a check of the radar again, and then when we might see relief from the oppressive heat. I'll have that in the extended forecast.
Well, we know we're not alone in dealing with this high heat. To the west, temperatures are getting above 110.
Could be worse. We could have been in Phoenix. There may have never been a more appropriately timed day for Tube to Work Day. Tubers enjoyed the chilly water in Boulder Creek. We assume it's chilly. It might have been toasty by the time they got in. Not a bad way to commute, considering it was still quite warm this morning. All right, it's time to find the best water slide in the state. It has to top Celebrity Sports Center from my youth. I trust viewers will report back to me, since pools will be the place you want to spend time this weekend. Photojournalist Mike Grady had this cool assignment at La Alma Rec Center in Denver, though he did not get to jump in himself. Even at the pool, you can get heat exhaustion and even heat stroke from playing around and exercising in the water for too long, because it becomes harder for your body to regulate temperature.
And we know there are a lot of other events outside today and through the weekend. Billy Joel is out at Coors Field, and of course concerts at Red Rocks all weekend long. The Tiny House Festival at Riverdale Regional Park, the nation's largest EV festival at the National Western Complex, the Renaissance Festival as well. All of them outside, so you really need to plan ahead. Maybe not pregame like you were thinking of pregaming. How about water? Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to talk to 9 News health expert Pyle Coley, who's going to discuss how we recognize heat stroke, how we can properly stay hydrated throughout the week, and maybe what we need to be aware of with our friends.
All right, happening right now, northbound lanes of I-25 are closed at 144th Avenue in Thornton because of a semi-crash. Thornton PD said the truck rolled over. I think you can kind of see it there in the shot there. Rolled over onto its side about 2:30 this afternoon. Traffic's being pushed onto 144th. These northbound lanes are expected to stay closed for a while. We're still waiting to hear if there were any injuries. New at 4 today, Aurora's interim police chief says she does not want to take interim off her title. Heather Morris will not apply to be the permanent chief. The city posted the job opening on Monday. Morris told the department today she will not be in the running. The city manager picks the finalist, who then has to be approved by city council. It was at city council this week that Morris watched as supporters of Kylan Lewis took over the meeting calling for justice. This was after council voted to remove a resolution apologizing to the family. An Aurora officer shot and killed Lewis back in May. He had a warrant for his arrest in an attempted homicide case. Body camera video from officers showed Lewis was only holding a cell phone. In that council meeting earlier this week, Morris stood there facing Lewis's supporters and offered condolences. Aurora has not had a permanent police chief since Vanessa Wilson left in 2022. Morris is the third straight interim chief.
Family members are focusing on the good after their loved one was killed by a driver suspected of being under the influence. This happened in early June near West Colfax and Garrison Street in Lakewood.
Police say Ilya Slavin was going twice the speed limit when he ran a red light and crashed into Beth Vargas's car. The crash killed Vargas. Her passenger survived. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry spoke to that woman and others looking to honor Beth the best they can.
On a day where no one can escape the sun,
She loved the summer.
Marvin Latham welcomes the rays.
Well, not necessarily the heat.
Because even in these temps,
Absolutely.
he can feel his mother's warmth.
She loved hanging out with her great-grandbabies. The highlight of her life.
She was Beth Vargas, a nurse killed in a crash in early June.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
She was driving to a job she loved
Hanging in there.
with her coworker, Ada Hernandez.
I don't think God was finished with me, so.
Ada was hurt pretty bad in the crash, but nothing compares to her heartbreak. She lost more than a dear friend.
I lost my dog. They're taking care of each other.
On Friday, Beth's son, Marvin, and his family found friends and the coworkers who spent the last 10 years working with her at Harmony Point Nursing Center.
Thank you for coming.
A celebration under the sun for a woman who took care of people like Sherry Pettit.
Grateful for the time we had with her.
She knows people like Beth don't come around often.
Absolutely the best nurse in Harmony Point.
Beth's work was never just a job.
We want to unveil. I know it's hot, but I think this is a special moment.
To her job, she never was just a nurse.
2, 3.
Beth will always be here in every warm embrace.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
According to the arrest affidavit, police suspect the driver, Ilya Slavin, was under the influence of cocaine. Court documents say he had a lengthy driving history, including 33 suspensions and 38 convictions. 13 of those 38 were for speeding. He's due back in court next month. Jaleesa Irizarry, 9 News.
Next week is Hall of Fame weekend in Cooperstown. The baseball community will celebrate this year's class of inductees.
After 17 years with the Colorado Rockies, number 17 will be enshrined in the Hall. Todd Helton will join the Hall of Fame after getting nearly 80% support on his 6th year being eligible. He'll join the Hall with Jim Leyland, who coached Helton for 1 year in 1999, former Dodger and Ranger Adrian Beltre, and former Twin Joe Mauer. In 17 years at first base for the Rockies, Helton earned 3 Golden Gloves and 4 Silver Sluggers, and the Rockies retired his number 17.
Colorado's the perfect place for me. It's an outdoor type place, and I love the outdoors, and it's a good place to hit, and the fans are amazing. It's kind of hard to believe, but you play 81 games at home, and when I first started there, all 81 games was like a Tennessee football game.
Not just when he first started here, but pretty much throughout his career.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can be said today.
No, but I mean, and he said he's so excited for this weekend and so nervous to be surrounded by the talent around him. I can't even believe that.
That's quite humble for someone who excelled at that position and stuck around through the hard years.
Through the hard years, the good, the bad. He saw them both.
Absolutely. He deserves and should own this honor.
We're so proud.
Absolutely.